let's dive in and take a look at AppArmor, and let's do this hands-on. So I've got two windows open here to my server, and you'll understand why here in just a second. And I have my AppArmor utilities already installed. So if I do AA tab, you'll see that there are several of those utilities here. AA status, as we described earlier, tells me a little bit about the state of AppArmor and the profiles on my particular system. Here you can see, and I want to go through this because it's important to take a look at this to help understand what we're looking at here. You can see that there are 48 profiles loaded and 48 profiles in enforce mode. And listed below here are those 48 profiles. Now, this does not mean that I actually have these particular applications or processes running, although I may. It's really just telling me that these profiles are loaded whether I've got the application or processes running or not. Now, down below, you'll see that there are 0 profiles in complain mode, but that there is one process that has been defined with a profile, and that one process is in enforce mode, and it lists to me what process that is. So it's kind of handy. It tells you almost everything you need to know about the state and status of AppArmor on your particular system. Now, the profiles that I mentioned that are already loaded, the ones you see here that are in enforce mode, are stored in a directory under etc called apparmor.d. And there are the other profiles. And I'd like to point out that when you look at the names, the naming convention of these profiles, for example, the Apache 2 profile here, notice the naming convention user.sbin.apache. Sounds similar to a path name. Well, in fact, it is the path name. The name of the profile here is actually the path to the file or the application or process to which it is being applied. But we substituted the slashes in the path variable here from /user/sbin/apache2 to user.sbin.apache2. So that naming convention will just help you know to which application is that profile being applied against. So let me just clear my screen. Now, I've got an application here that I've created, and it's really just a script called aatest.sh. And this is a very simple script that just simply tries to write a file and delete a file and download some files. And so it executes several different functions that may be part of a typical application. And so if I run AATest just as it is, there's no profile for AppArmor created or anything like that yet. If I run AATest, you'll see that it tries to create a file, then comes back and tells me it created one successfully. It tries to then turn around and remove that file. So it executes sort of a, can I create a file and can I remove one? And then can I run wget to download a file successfully and then remove that to clean it all up? And of course, my application runs as it should. But if we would like to apply an AppArmor profile to this particular application, then we would want to run the aagenprof command, and we would want to pass to it as a parameter the path to the application, in my case, my script, that I would like to build a profile for. Now, I'm going to specify the full path. Although you might, if you forget and just specify the actual application name, it'll try to determine what the full path is and create the profile for that with the appropriate naming convention. But I like to put in the full path just to take out any of those variables. So when you run aagenprof against this particular application, it comes back and tells you, great, I'm going to profile this particular app. And then it says, please go start that application in another window, hence the reason I have that second window, and execute all the functions of that particular application. So let's go do that. Let's go to my other window, and let's go run that aatest.sh script and have it execute again all of its actions or activities successfully. And again, I'm not applying a profile yet, I'm just building one. So my application is fully capable of doing all the things that the application is allowed to do. So it's created its file, it's deleted the file, it downloaded, and it downloaded the file, then it removed that particular file that was downloaded. So it cleaned itself up. So I've executed my application, and then I come back, and the AppArmor wizard, AA GenProf, is telling me that I can hit S to scan the system log for all those AppArmor events, all the activities of my application, or I can hit finish if I've already done that and exit the wizard. Well, I want to hit S for scan, and it's going to go through that log file, read that log file, and then prompt me for all the different activities. Now, there are several different options that I can pick and choose from all down the line here. And I'm going to choose inherit because that's the one that's going to work for me in this particular case. There's great documentation, by the way, to learn about what those other options are. But I'm going to press inherit to allow access to execute. Notice it's trying to tell me that it's trying to execute the tput command, and I use that inside my script. So I hit inherit for that, and it asks me about sleep, and I'll say, sure, let's do that one. And I use touch to create the file, so let's inherit that. And then I use RM to remove the file, and then there's my wget. So again, I'm just pressing inherit to say, allow these particular things to run. And then it switches over. Now it's not giving me the inherit option anymore. I'm getting more of an allow deny kind of operation here. And it's giving me choices, a number 1 or a number 2. And I can use the arrow keys to upload, or up arrow and down arrow, to choose either 1 or 2. And it highlights the one that's suggested. So I'm going to leave the suggested one sort of highlighted there. And I'm going to hit allow because I want everything, since my application was functioning properly, I want to allow all of those activities to occur. So I'm going to hit allow for that one, and hit A for that one, and allow for that, and allow for that, and allow for that, and allow again. And then it's completed analyzing the log file. So it's understood now all the activities of my quote unquote application. So it says, here are some choices for you. And I'm going to hit S to save because I want to save the changes to my profile. And now it's back to, should I scan or should I finish? And I'm going to hit finish. At this point, if I run AA status again, you'll notice that at the top, I have my /root/AATest script, and it's enabled and in its enforce mode. And it's a very simple script, and the profile for it is also pretty simple. Let's take a look at it. And remember the path, the name of the profile is the path, so it's root.aatest.sh. Did I spell that wrong? Or no, sorry, not in /root AppArmorD. How about /etcd AppArmorD? My bad there. Etsy/AppArmor.d. And so there is my profile. And it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And if you were to just look at this as you might be doing and not knowing much about it, you can see some of the syntax is pretty simple. Some of the values are probably and does stand for read, 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 write, and write. read, write, and lock, I think, for K. So there are certainly values in here that we'll go in and take a look at in a second to see what some of the more common variables are for this. But this is my profile, and it's in effect. So if I were to come back and try to run my application, I would expect that it would run because I haven't changed anything. The profile is in effect, but it should be allowing my application to do everything that it's supposed to do. So if I run AA test again, it tries to create the file, does so successfully. It's going to try and delete it as before, and it should do that successfully. And then it should try and download with wget, and all of that should be successful. Great, no worries. Now, one thing I want to call attention to is you'll notice in both cases, from the red highlighted text, I'm logged in as the root user. So there's really nothing that I should not be able to do from within this server, even though I've got AppArmor loaded, I'm logged in as a root user. You would think I would be able to do anything that I want. And as the user, I can, but my application, AA test, when run as I did here, and and it's assuming the root user's capabilities because I ran it, currently is able to perform these operations. But let's do a little bit of hacking here. Let's say that we are a hacker and we found a vulnerability in this application, and we want to come in and we want to change the name of the file that's being written to test file 123. Again, something that's outside of what the application was originally designed to do. So now, let's go run our script again, and let's see if it can create the file. Oh, it can't. The file creation has been blocked by AppArmor. So even though it's running as root doing it, the application itself cannot be used to do something beyond what it was originally built to do. Now, as a user, root, I can certainly touch a file called data/test file 123.txt, right? I can do that successfully as the root user, but the application cannot. So that application cannot be used from an exploit perspective to perform operations, even though it's running as root user. So let me clear that file. And then let's go back and edit our file one more time. Let's put back the changes to original, but let's just go to the bottom and let's try in a different directory. We'll just do it we'll do it in root's home directory because that's where we're running this from. Let's just try to touch a brand new file, 123.txt. And let's try to copy a file like /user usr/bin/zipper to this current directory, right? Just something else that, we're trying to hack the application. We're trying to get it to do something that it wasn't built to do originally. So we've modified that. We'll come back in here. We'll run AA test. Now, the first part of our script should work fine because we're back to normal. We're creating the file with the appropriate name. We should be able to remove it with the appropriate name. The wget should run just fine. But then those two little extra things at the bottom, they're not going to be allowed because permissions denied, because that file wasn't part of the original wizard. Oh, I'm sorry, the original profile that the wizard created. And I'm not able to copy the file, even though I, as root, have full access to my directory. This application does not. So that kind of gives you an example of how AppArmor interacts with, the server in protecting it based on the profile that is created and managed by AppArmor. So that's it for my session. I want to thank you for taking a look at AppArmor. Again, AppArmor is included in your SUSE Enterprise Server subscription. So there's nothing extra there. From a cost perspective, it's included, it's loaded. You just need to apply it to your workload and off you go. So thank you for coming to SUSECON Digital 2021, and we will see you next year.